A BYD's electric vehicle subsidy fraud in China. In the sprawling industrial city of Shenzhen, China, where gleaming skyscrapers house some of the world's largest tech companies, one of the nation's most celebrated battery manufacturers was quietly orchestrating one of the largest subsidy frauds in the electric vehicle industry. BYD Company Limited, short for Build Your Dreams, had built its reputation as a pioneer in electric vehicle technology and rechargeable batteries, earning praise from investors like Warren Buffett, who poured $232 million into the company in 2008. By 2016, BYD had become China's largest electric vehicle manufacturer and the world's second largest producer of electric buses, with annual revenues exceeding $10 billion. But behind the facade of environmental innovation and corporate responsibility, BYD was systematically defrauding the Chinese government out of millions in electric vehicle subsidies through a sophisticated scheme involving fake sales, shell companies, and manipulated production records. The foundation of BYD's fraud lay in China's aggressive electric vehicle subsidy program, launched in 2009 as part of the government's ambitious plan to dominate the global clean energy market and reduce the country's dependence on oil imports. The Chinese government offered substantial financial incentives to manufacturers who produced qualifying electric vehicles, with subsidies ranging from 50,000 to 600,000 yuan per vehicle, depending on the type and specifications. For electric buses, which became BYD's specialty, the government provided up to 500,000 yuan, approximately $75,000, per vehicle, through a combination of national and local subsidies. The program was designed to accelerate adoption of electric vehicles by making them cost-competitive with traditional gasoline-powered vehicles, while simultaneously building a domestic industry that could compete globally. By 2015, China had distributed over 33 billion yuan in electric vehicle subsidies, making it the world's largest supporter of electric vehicle development. However, the program's rapid expansion and loose oversight mechanisms created a perfect storm for fraud, with insufficient verification processes for sales transactions and inadequate monitoring of vehicle deployment and usage. BYD's fraudulent scheme centered on creating artificial sales transactions for electric vehicles that were either never delivered to legitimate customers or were delivered to shell companies that existed solely to facilitate the fraud. The company established a network of fake buyers, including specially created companies with minimal operations, that would purchase electric vehicles on paper, while BYD received the full government subsidy for each transaction. In many cases, these vehicles were never actually transferred to the purported buyers, instead remaining in BYD facilities or being shuffled between different locations to create the appearance of legitimate sales. The company's internal documents, later uncovered by Chinese investigators, revealed detailed records of these phantom transactions, including purchase orders from non-existent companies and delivery receipts for vehicles that were never moved from BYD's manufacturing facilities. Some vehicles were sold to legitimate customers, but then secretly repurchased by BYD through intermediary companies, allowing the manufacturer to claim subsidies for the same vehicle multiple times as it was resold through different entities. The scheme was particularly sophisticated in its use of electric buses, which commanded higher subsidies due to their commercial nature and environmental impact, with BYD creating fake transit companies and municipal contracts to justify large volume purchases. The execution of BYD's fraud required extensive coordination between the company's sales, finance, and manufacturing divisions, with senior executives developing elaborate protocols to maintain the appearance of legitimate business operations while systematically exploiting subsidy loopholes. BYD's sales teams were instructed to prioritize transactions that maximized subsidy collection rather than focusing on genuine market demand, leading to artificial production quotas and unrealistic delivery schedules that existed primarily on paper. The company's finance department developed sophisticated accounting methods to track both legitimate and fraudulent transactions, ensuring that subsidy claims were properly documented while concealing the true nature of the phantom sales from external auditors. Manufacturing records were systematically altered to show production and delivery of vehicles that were either never built or never left company facilities, with serial numbers and production dates manipulated to match fraudulent sales contracts. BYD also exploited regulatory gaps between national and local subsidy programs, claiming multiple incentives for the same vehicles by navigating between different government agencies that lacked coordination in their oversight efforts. The company's quality control processes were compromised, as executives prioritized speed of subsidy collection over actual vehicle production, leading to instances where subsidy claims were filed for vehicles that failed to meet the technical specifications required for government incentives. The scope of BYD's subsidy fraud became apparent during a comprehensive investigation launched by China's Ministry of Finance in late 2015, following reports of irregularities in the electric vehicle subsidy program across multiple manufacturers. Investigators discovered that BYD had claimed subsidies for over 1,800 electric vehicles that were either never produced, never delivered, or delivered to fake customers between 2015 and 2016 alone. The total value of fraudulent subsidy claims exceeded 5.2 billion yuan, approximately $780 million, making it one of the largest corporate fraud cases in China's clean energy sector. Government auditors found evidence of systematic manipulation of production records, with BYD's manufacturing data showing vehicle completions that could not be verified through independent inspection of company facilities. The investigation revealed that some of BYD's claimed electric bus sales were to municipal transportation authorities that had no record of receiving the vehicles, while other transactions involved companies that had been dissolved or never existed. Financial analysis of BYD's subsidy claims showed patterns consistent with coordinated fraud, including clusters of sales to similar entities within short time periods and unusual payment arrangements that suggested artificial transactions designed primarily to trigger government incentives. The Chinese government's response to BYD's subsidy fraud was swift and comprehensive, reflecting the leadership's concern about corruption undermining strategic national initiatives in clean energy development. In September 2016, the Ministry of Finance announced that BYD would be required to repay 372 million yuan in improperly claimed subsidies, while also facing suspension from the subsidy program for 1 year. The punishment represented one of the largest financial penalties ever imposed on a Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer, sending a clear message about the government's commitment to preventing abuse of clean energy incentives. BYD's suspension from the subsidy program effectively barred the company from receiving any government electric vehicle incentives during the critical 2017 period, when the industry was experiencing rapid growth and competitors were expanding market share with government support. Beyond financial penalties, BYD faced significant reputational damage in both domestic and international markets, with investors questioning the company's corporate governance and operational integrity. The scandal forced BYD to implement comprehensive compliance reforms, including new oversight mechanisms for subsidy claims and enhanced verification processes for sales transactions, while also requiring regular reporting to government authorities about the company's participation in incentive programs. The ripple effects of BYD's subsidy fraud extended far beyond the company itself, prompting fundamental reforms in China's approach to clean energy incentives and corporate oversight in strategic industries. The Ministry of Finance implemented new verification requirements for electric vehicle subsidies, including mandatory inspections of claimed sales transactions and enhanced penalties for fraudulent claims across the entire industry. Other major Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers, including SAIC Motor and Geely, faced increased scrutiny as investigators expanded their probe of subsidy fraud throughout the sector, ultimately discovering similar schemes at dozens of companies that collectively claimed hundreds of millions in improper incentives. The scandal highlighted fundamental weaknesses in China's rapid industrial policy implementation, where ambitious goals for clean energy development had outpaced the government's ability to effectively monitor and verify compliance with subsidy requirements. International investors in Chinese electric vehicle companies faced new questions about corporate governance and regulatory risk, leading to increased due diligence requirements and enhanced oversight of clean energy investments. The fraud also damaged China's reputation as a responsible leader in global clean energy development, with international partners expressing concern about the integrity of Chinese companies competing in global electric vehicle markets. BYD's recovery from the subsidy fraud scandal demonstrated both the resilience of the company's core business and the ongoing challenges facing corporate governance in China's rapidly evolving clean energy sector. Despite the financial penalties and reputational damage, BYD maintained its position as one of China's largest electric vehicle manufacturers, leveraging its substantial technological capabilities and manufacturing infrastructure to continue serving both domestic and international markets. The company's stock price initially declined by over 20% following disclosure of the fraud, but recovered within 18 months as investors focused on BYD's underlying business prospects and the growing global demand for electric vehicles. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway maintained its investment in BYD throughout the scandal, signaling confidence in the company's long-term prospects, despite the governance failures that enabled the subsidy fraud. However, the scandal permanently altered BYD's relationship with Chinese regulators, requiring ongoing compliance monitoring and limiting the company's access to certain government incentive programs, even after the formal suspension period ended. The company was forced to invest significantly in new compliance infrastructure, including dedicated teams for regulatory oversight and enhanced internal auditing processes, reducing profitability while ensuring adherence to evolving government requirements for subsidy participation. The long-term implications of BYD's subsidy fraud continue to shape both corporate behavior and government policy in China's electric vehicle industry, serving as a cautionary tale about the risks of rapid subsidy distribution without adequate oversight mechanisms. The scandal contributed to a broader reassessment of China's approach to industrial policy, with government officials recognizing the need for more sophisticated monitoring systems to prevent abuse of strategic incentive programs while maintaining support for critical technology development. BYD's case became a template for investigating similar fraud schemes throughout China's clean energy sector, with investigators using techniques developed during the BYD probe to uncover subsidy abuse at companies producing solar panels, wind turbines, and other renewable energy technologies. The enhanced oversight mechanisms implemented following the BYD scandal have successfully reduced subsidy fraud in China's electric vehicle industry, but have also slowed the distribution of legitimate incentives and increased administrative burdens for compliant manufacturers. Today, BYD continues to operate as a major player in the global electric vehicle market, but the company's legacy remains forever linked to one of the most significant corporate fraud cases in China's clean energy development, serving as a reminder that even the most promising technologies and industries remain vulnerable to the fundamental human temptations of greed and deception that drive white-collar crime across all sectors of the global economy.